invite you to go winter camping in the Adirondacks with me in February.
Where are you going?
We go over Mount Marcy. We summit that each February. Group of us.
You know, you're going to have a little harder time this year. The bridge at Marcy Dam washed out in Irene. You got to get down to the scroll crossing down down the way.
Yeah, we didn't have much snow last year. So
You're running a little closer to him, will you?
Say again?
A little closer in.
Okay.
All right.
We ready?
Yeah, go right ahead.
And you want me to call you Bill?
Sure.
All right. So Bill, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy.
Good to be with you.
Congratulations on your success with the Keystone XL tar sands pipeline.
Well, you know, we only win at best temporary victories in this business. That's all environmentalists ever get. But it is good to see at least people beginning to stand up to the oil industry a bit.
And what do you see as the next step?
I think we're going to have to, we can't stop global warming one pipeline at a time. We're going to have to really challenge the basic financial and political power of the fossil fuel industry. That's what's keeping us from making effective change. And so we'll be up on Capitol Hill, you know, even in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have big demonstrations trying to call attention to the fact that these guys have rigged this game.
And you have an event on January the 24th.
24th will be 500 people in referee shirts out there blowing the whistle on Congress on the fact that they take money from companies and then vote on their interests, which is just plain wrong.
And would you suggest, is there plans for mirroring events in states?
I think as we hope this meme spreads, and we'll be doing what we can, because pretty much every state in the union almost has a politician who's on the take and needs to be called out on it.
And with this tar sands issue currently, is the game over for the planet over?
It's you know, I think that this pipeline will, and many others, will come back in some form or another unless we really change the structure of our energy system. And to do that, we have to break the power of the fossil fuel industry.
Huge challenge. They're obviously not going to just roll over and say, oh.
They have, I'm no theologian, but they have more money than God, you know, and they are willing to use it.
I loved a videotape I got years ago, which was put out by the Petroleum Institute, that said, we don't believe in this, but if it's true, it actually won't be that bad because we'll have warmer climates and, you know, it's just insanity.
Right.
Just curious what your take is on the Occupy movement and how it relates or doesn't relate.
It's been one of the great happinesses of the last while. I think I spoke at 9 different Occupy encampments in the course of the last few months.
Wonderful.
I got down to Zuccotti Park right at the beginning and got to speak through the big human microphone, and one of the things that I just said to people was, thank you, it's about time. Wall Street's been occupying the atmosphere for the last quarter century. It's time we return the favor.
Yeah. And what would you say relative to this, the nonviolent protests and so forth, that you've learned, having been arrested in D.C. and having the big event in D.C. In the past? What have you learned about?
The only thing that, you know, if we're going to take on the wealth of the most profitable industry on earth, we're going to have to find other currencies to work in. We're never going to have as much money. So those other currencies are passion and spirit and creativity, and sometimes they're our bodies, you know. And that's what we got to use what we got.
Realizing that this is a severe oversimplification, is there one action that you recommend that all of us could take to speak to these challenges?
Well, organize, you know. We need to, there's nothing we can do in our own homes or lives that will really reverse climate change. It's going to have to be systemic and political.
Right.
And we're going to have to take on the power of the fossil fuel industry and the fact that they're allowed to pour their waste into the atmosphere for free. Mm-hmm. It's not fair, and it needs to end.
One of the things that I advocate is referring to it as our environment versus the environment, because it just seems to reinforce this disconnect.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I mean, the work your organization, 350.org, is trying to make sort of those fundamental connections that offset that disconnect. Could you speak a little bit about 350.org?
Sure. 350.org's the draws its odd name from what scientists tell us is the most carbon we can safely have in the atmosphere, 350 parts per million, a figure we're already well past, unfortunately.
And where do we think we are now?
We're 392 parts per million and rising. We've organized in every country on Earth but North Korea. We've got the first big global grassroots climate change campaign.
A little tough getting into North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea's a little tough. It's very beautiful to see people all over the world coming together, and it's very, very difficult because the challenges are the same every place. The power of that money to drag you down.
It must be frustrating when confronting the climate deniers and the machine. For those of us who can feel defeated around it at times, the words of advice, and again, organize, I heard. But
well, the only time, I've been doing this a long time. I wrote the first book about climate change 23 years ago. You got to, the only antidote to despair is deep engagement. If you're fighting, you're doing what you can.
And you were selected by Utne magazine in 2010 as one of the 25 visionaries who are changing the world. Do you find yourself challenged as a leader in this regard to be consistent? And I'm the guy who's driving to New York to go winter camping in my Prius, and I'm hoping that balances out.
I've spent half my life the last few years in airplanes. I'm spewing a lot of carbon up. When I'm at home, I'm pretty carbon neutral, but not in my life as an organizer, and I guess I have to hope that we accomplish at least enough good to offset the damage I'm doing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, again, this could go on, but I know you've got a busy
Thank you very
evening.
much for all of this.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks. I was really good to drive by the Occupy Portland encampment there and see everybody still hard at work even in the middle of the winter.
And are you aware of the resolution that got passed the other night by the city of Portland? They helped me out here, Brian, but David Marshall, one of our counselors, brought forward a resolution to challenge our congressional representatives to bring out an amendment against the Citizens United decision.
Good.
So
excellent stuff. Well, it was fun to be on the steps of the courthouse today and just talking with people about exactly that.
Great.
That's what we need.
Well, listen, looking forward to your speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, have fun.
Yeah.